Hello, Buckeye State Gardening. Guess that's Ohio State. Hello. Just going to wait for a few more people to join. It's 3 o'clock, March 10th, Sunday. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hello from Philly. Hello. I'm going to show some videos of Philadelphia today. It's a beautiful city. Been there many, many times. I'm sure you go to Philadelphia Flower Show almost every year. I would if I lived there. Hello from North Carolina. Been to North Carolina as well. To Raleigh, Durham. Duke Gardens are beautiful. My husband went to Duke University, so we've been there on the campus. All right, so I see that you guys are joining in. First of all, let me know how you can hear me. If you can hear me okay, if you can see me okay. This is a little bit of a learning curve for me. So I tried my very first live stream yesterday just to try it out to see if I can do more of these because I really like interacting with you guys live. So let me know if you can hear me okay and if you can see me okay. If you could see my setup here, it is ridiculous. So my computer is on like a box with a seed box with some lights because we keep getting these rains, just ridiculous rains outside, and it's dark. And I needed some extra lights. Also, just want to make sure that you know we are going to get really high winds like in the next hour or so. So I'm not sure how the internet is going to hold up. If we lose connection, I'm just going to restart everything. Just, go back on YouTube and find me here live. So the reason why I decided to do this live is because I couldn't find some photos of the Philadelphia Flower Show yesterday. I finally figured out how to find them. But what I decided to do is actually add photos and videos from previous years. So Philadelphia Flower Show 2023 and 2022. I think we could use a little inspiration right now, flowers and gardens. So I think it would be very interesting to look at some photos and videos. So now I'm a little bit more confident here on how to operate this. So I'm just going to jump right into the presentation. I don't want to waste your guys' time. So I'm just going to share the screen. And you guys let me know if you can see anything. Can you see the beautiful flowers? Just want to confirm that you can see. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so this is the part of the flower show that I didn't show you yesterday. I don't know, for some reason it disappeared, but this is actually the display of the Philadelphia Flower Show that I went to on Wednesday. And right as you come in, there is this spectacular display. And there it is. There were some tulips and just tons of flowers, just stunning display of all sorts of different layers of plants. So this display was called the Reflections, I believe. They are water pools dividing all of the beds. lots of flower arrangements. There were flower arrangements hanging from the ceiling, and the Akebono cherries in the background, backed up with skip laurels for that evergreen interest. So lots of layering, lots of interest, lots of color. And the theme for this year's Philadelphia Flower Show was United by Flowers. And there were so many flowers. It was just stunning. I think this was one of the best displays I've seen at the Philadelphia Flower Show, and I've gone for many, many years. By the way, if I seem like a little slow today, it's all due to the daylight savings time. I don't know how you guys are hanging on. I like the daylight savings time because we can like garden later in the evening, but I do not like losing 1 hour of sleep. So if I seem a little slow, that's why. So the interesting thing was, and some of these videos are kind of crooked because again, there was a lot of people and I had to get through the crowd to take videos. But in this particular video, you can see that they actually arranged the tulip display from really hot colors right here, like the oranges and some yellows, and it got progressively cooler. So it went into more of the purple colors. So this is something Lawnwood Gardens does. If you've ever been to Lawnwood Gardens, they have these beds and they organize those beds by colors. So it goes from very hot colors like the reds, yellows, and oranges, and into cool colors like purples and blues. So you can see it right here. You can see it started with the hot colors. And then on this side, right over there, that's where the purples start. Again, just lots of beautiful, beautiful displays. I am not like a big fan of flower arrangements, especially like over the top flower arrangements. I am more of a bouquet that it's been gathered in like a meadow, but I think these are still really beautiful. Let me show you this. This was the purple part, which I absolutely love. You know, I'm a fan of cool colors like a lot of other people. So tons of tulips, tons of flowers, absolutely gorgeous. So the one thing I think I did right is that I went kind of in the middle of the show. So if you've ever been to Philadelphia Flower Show, if you arrive on like, I think it opens on Friday or Saturday, so like right after the designers install everything, you can look at it. And a lot of times, bulbs especially, are not opened yet because they want them to last a little bit longer. So you don't see that gorgeous full bloom display. On the other hand, if you go at the end of the show, so today's the last day. So if you've gone today, a lot of these flowers would have faded. So I actually have seen some people post pictures from today, which were already fading, but I went to see it smack down in the middle. So it was like the peak bloom. It was absolutely beautiful. So I will just go really quick over the gardens that we looked at yesterday for the people who weren't here. And then I'm actually going to jump into Philadelphia Flower Show 2023, because I don't think I've ever showed you the show in detail. So these were some of the gardens from yesterday. Again, if you were here yesterday, just hang on. I'll just go through this really quick. This was the flower map for the theme United by Flowers. And somebody pointed out yesterday was actually, it's arranged by zones, right, by growing zones, which I kind of didn't think about. And I was thinking more, let's arrange it by states and include all of the native plants of that state. But it was still really beautiful, but so crowded. I couldn't really take a really nice video of this. This was a garden, like a hairstyle salon garden, which was kind of interesting. Lots of gardens with rewilding theme and native plants, which I love. Echinacea pallida, which they forced in March. I have no idea how. Again, this is a garden kind of portraying the side of the road with some mileage markers, kind of like the nature taking over. A couple of tropical gardens, which are not normal or usual for Philadelphia Flower Show. I've never seen a tropical garden there, but I really like those. Some orchids. I'm just going really quick because there were some people here yesterday and they saw this already. This is one of the gardens that I really liked because of this wooden structure, the screen or the veil that is right in front of the actual garden. And as you can see, the people were really curious about what's going on in the garden itself. That's why I personally, in my designs, I like to include some sort of screen, whether a shrub or an actual wooden screen that prevents you from seeing the garden right away. Especially if you have a small garden, a lot of times people are afraid to divide their gardens, but it actually makes your garden seem bigger. I encourage you to kind of think of the ways that you can segment your garden with different features. Whether you have a large garden or small garden, it will make it cozier, more interesting, and appear a lot bigger. I'm just reading some of the comments. Okay, great. This was the display, the front display from the other side. I like the layering of it. This was my dream greenhouse. We talked about that yesterday. It is out of my budget, unfortunately, at this time, but you know, one can dream. And all of the beautiful plants for sale. I bought some plants I will show you real quick. Okay, some orchid displays for sale, some beautiful botanical paintings. Now these front door displays I talked about yesterday, and I just mentioned about how you can design a garden even in the tiniest of spaces. This was another door display with a little miniature library. Clivia, which I could not grow. I tried. They're really, really fussy plants. They had a lot of bulbs forced. And there's some hyacinths, some tulips. Look at the little baby. I mean, it's just so good to see some color this time of year. I know spring is right around the corner, but still. This was another example of a tiny garden. Tiny garden with very inventive use of frames to make a pergola. I thought it was so cool. Just so cool. Lots of vegetable gardens. This one I'll skip. I showed you yesterday. There were at least 3 vegetable gardens, and I totally understand because people trying to be self-sufficient. I am going all in on vegetables this year as well. I grew a lot of vegetables last year, and it was just fantastic to go out in the garden, get your tomatoes, get your lettuce, cucumbers, peppers. It was awesome. There was another tulip display, lots of color. What I like about the tulip displays, and they have one at every flower show, is that they put labels on the tulips. I'm always looking for new varieties of tulips to try in my own garden. Tulip is one of my most favorite spring blooming bulbs. I love daffodils, I like the other little ones like stillas and snowdrops and pushkinias. There's tons, but tulip, the color that they provide is just so intense and spectacular. There's nothing like it. The corals were beautiful right here. Another vegetable garden. I will go through this probably in the next 5 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next garden. Lots and lots of colors. And of course, there were lots and lots of people because that's, they're just drawn to color. This was my favorite cultivar by far. This was the Japanese garden. This could be easily done in anybody's backyard. Like if you have a backyard big enough, and I think a lot of our suburban backyards are big enough to do something like this, just so easily done, so much interest. There's like little winding path, there's destination, there's little mystery behind these trees, focal points with rocks. Just such a beautiful, beautiful garden. Spring is here already in Zone 8A, New Mexico, several weeks away. Yes, yes. You've been loving forcing bulbs in this past winter. I love forcing bulbs. It just speeds up spring so much. And also you feel like you're actually gardening. You're not taking breaks from gardens. Some people like to take breaks. I don't. I like to garden 365 days, 24/7. That is my dream. Absolutely love it. There were some gardens that were just a little bit overdone. And I know it's, some people like that. It was just a little bit too much for me. This was my friend Susan Cohan's garden, Generations. She was talking about how we pass down our knowledge and passion of gardening and plants from generation to generation. And that is so true. My parents, especially my dad, I gardened with him a lot. I still ask him tons of questions about gardening. Love the beautiful insect hotels that she incorporated here. The birdhouses. I have now 3 birdhouses in my garden. I'm obsessed with attracting birds because they bring so much life to the garden. Yes, foxgloves and dahlias in Susan's garden were really, really amazing. So, funny story. I'm there taking pictures, and this woman, just like a random woman walking by, and she points to the foxglove and she asks me, "Is that a glove, something?" Like I look like a person who knows plants. Like she felt like she could ask me what exactly it was, and I knew exactly what it was. But it happens to me all the time. It happens to me in nurseries. People just come over and start asking me questions about plants. But my question to Susan, and actually I may send her a message about how in the world did they force dahlias this time of year? Is it the greenhouse? Did they have to bring it from down south somewhere? So that was an interesting question. And this is Kelly Norris's garden, Beautiful Disturbance. So it's basically portraying kind of abandoned lot with the nature taking over. Lots of native plants, lots of meadowy, beautiful textures. I loved that garden. So many people did too. But as I was talking about yesterday, he had to include some of the hardscaping to make it a little bit more structured, like the patio slabs and the little concrete pieces that he had there, and this little stag, I guess that's what you call it. Just all the textures, beautiful textures. I know yuccas are not everybody's favorite plant, but I think the fact that he included them there is just so pretty. So if you want to go lawn free, which a lot of people nowadays want to, get rid of the lawn, put a little bit more plants, this is something you can do. You can have it a little bit more organized, but totally can be done. Then there were these exotic gardens with very interesting structures, tropical plants. This is a mirror that I liked with some moss on top. I really liked this flower arrangement. Again, I'm not a huge a flower arrangement person, but this one was so balanced and so harmonious to me. The orchids, the tillandsia hanging down right here was so beautiful. I would have something like this at home on my wall, like tomorrow. I would make this. I loved it. And there were a lot of really weird pictures of me, because when you go by yourself and you don't have anybody take pictures of you, I mean, there's lots of double chins. I was trying to take pictures of these interesting dried flower arrangements on the ceiling. And we're going back to the beginning, basically. So this is it for the Flower Show 2024. And now I want to go back 1 year and look at the 2023 Flower Show, which actually, when I was gathering the pictures, I thought it was so much fun, because it's just it was good inspiration just to look at the plants. I would love to know how she forced those dahlias. Me too. It's even very early for dahlias in the South right now. Yes. So I'm wondering, they need a lot of light. They need a lot of food. Oh, I just don't know. I have to ask her. And I'm fortunate, to have access to some of these designers that design these show gardens at this show. So I'm curious to find out. I'll let you guys know. So before I go, I just wanted to show you the plants that I bought at the flower show, because I could not resist. There were a lot of plant stands. Most of them had house plants. Some of them had some tubers and bulbs, but I just bought some cool house plants. So these are some philodendrons, because philodendrons do really well for me in New Jersey. Some begonias, African violets. These are tiny. They're like tiniest African violets I've ever seen. And this is a Louisa, which is an outdoor plant. But it's kind of tough to grow, but I've grown one Louisa and it survived for 3 years. So I'm taking another chance on another Louisa. All of these plants, I just wanted to let you know that the price wise. I did a poll on Instagram just asking people how much something like this would cost. And these plants are not easy to find in a regular store. So all of this, just for your reference, is $120. Don't tell my husband. So I am quarantining them currently in the basement. So any new plants that come into this house are quarantined for 2 to 3 weeks before I bring them out here in the plant room or somewhere else in the house, because I'm afraid of bugs. You can bring a lot of bugs with plants that you buy in a store. By the way, also, if you get a bouquet of flowers, either for Mother's Day, whatever, birthday, keep them away from your plants as well, because those have a lot of bugs. They could have spider mites, they can have mealybugs, so keep that in mind. All right, so let's go to the next flower show, or actually the previous flower show. So I said I was going to show you Philadelphia. If you've never been to Philadelphia, this is just the look. This was a view from our hotel room last year. So look how pretty this is architecturally. So when you do go to Philadelphia Flower Show, and we stayed in the hotel a couple of blocks away, this is pretty much the neighborhood that you're going to be in. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of places to visit. The architecture, again, is beautiful. Just very nice city. So this was us walking to the Philadelphia Flower Show, and check this out. How fun is this? This gentleman was all in on the flowers. I thought it was so fun. And before we went to the show, they actually had a butterfly tent where you can interact with some butterflies. They have some sweet water for them to collect, and I thought it was just fascinating. I don't know ethically how it works when you have butterflies hatched inside, but I'm sure the Xerces Society would not allow Philadelphia Flower Show to do something like this if the butterflies were getting hurt. As you walked in the flower show last year, you would see this chandelier. And the theme for the last year's flower show was garden electric, or electric garden. I think it was garden electric. So there was a lot of twist on, electricity, different, like a disco lights, and lots of color. It wasn't like my thing. I'm more of a natural gal. Like, give me a meadow, like a very simple meadow, and I'm hooked. But there were just tons of flowers, all different colors. The one thing at the Philadelphia Flower Show that's always kind of bothered me is the lighting. The lighting is a lot of times a little bit patchy, like it's hard to see some plants. Sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's too bright. And I understand why they keep the lighting kind of dim, because they don't want to burn up the plants, right? So the more lights you have, the more they come out of the bloom. So they like to keep it a little bit cooler in there. I mean, this was kind of spectacular. Lots of color. This is something that you want to see at the end of the winter. They had these beautiful hanging flower displays from all over the world. And then these kokedamas, they were hundreds hanging from the ceiling. It was just something. So interesting. So if you look closely, all of these orchids were planted in the kokedamas and kind of hung upside down. Again, all of these kokedamas with some bromeliads. So this kind of bothered me a lot because it was garden electric. They had all these lights, like strobe lights, and it was not my thing. Absolutely was not my thing. Some people really liked it. It's kind of creative, but I wanted to see plants and the lights. So like in this picture, you could see that the plant color totally changed because of the different color lights. And I would rather see the actual greenery, the color of the flowers, to get inspiration and know what they look like if I were to bring them home. But it was really hard to tell. And then once you entered, there were some gardens. So this one was interesting because of this water feature. It was kind of like a stepping down water feature. And you will see, and I apologize, a lot of my videos get like really shaky and then they stop, because it was insanely crowded. So last year's Philadelphia Flower Show was the most crowded I've ever like experienced. There was literally, you would walk like this to see any of the displays, and you had to wait in a long line to go through some gardens. So definitely didn't make the experience for pleasant experience. So this is Susan Cohan's garden again last year. So she actually has been showing her gardens for a number of years now. She's one of the best landscape designers in the country. She won many, many awards. So this garden right here, really loved. This is my style. I can just take this picture, put it in my garden. You know, I can, this is serviceberry or Amilanchier. So I can get this Amilanchier, get in my garden. I will be a happy camper. There are some white dicentrals right here. So if you guys want to dissect some of these plants, you know, a couple of daffodils. So this grass is just overgrown lawn grass. I think they laid it down as turf, but this could be caryxes, right? So our native caryxes, and there are caryxes for all over United States that you can find a native type for you. You don't have to mow them. They look beautiful. For us, a lot of times we use Carex pennsylvanica, which is more rhizomatous. So it will spread by itself. There's a lot of clumping Carexes that you can pick that will give you that beautiful soft look. This is a native rhododendron. I think it is flacum. I think it is flacum. I will confirm later with you what this, but I think it is. Yes, it starts with the species, starts with F. Orange is not usually my color, but I really liked that in this particular space. So the garden was just this spiral. So you go from down and you just get up, and then it kind of culminates on the top, and it made a very, very beautiful display. Now, there were lots of azaleas. This is a different garden. Like I thought that this was beautiful right here. And I am fortunate to live in the area where azaleas and andromedas and a lot of acidic loving plants grow very well. So I can, again, just take this, put it in my garden, and it will do really well. There were some birches for structure in this garden as well. Going back to Susan's garden. So again, that rhododendron, I have to look it up. Now it's like killing me. Can't remember what it is. But I also loved this Corten steel edging right here. So Corten steel is used a lot in contemporary gardens instead of retaining walls because it is so thin, but it can actually hold up the soil really well. So if you want a space-saving solution, if you have more of a contemporary garden, Corten steel, which is steel that is rusted, but once it's rusted, it's not going to like break down or rust anymore. It has that beautiful patina. Now again, talking about the light, just kind of the strange light right here, but I really like these corrugated raised beds in this particular garden. And there's just a lot of color, all different colors last year. There was this very interesting display. First, I thought these were intestines, but they were actually, it was a brain. It was a nervous system. And, you know, a lot of people are very creative, but when it comes to execution, you know, sometimes things don't come out the way you want them to. I think this was the case because a lot of people did think these were more intestines rather than the brain. But I mean, it's kind of creative. This, again, going back to Susan's garden. So Susan's garden was kind of big. And as I walked around, I just looked at it from different points of view. And this was just a wild part of it with a little fire pit, fireplace area. I just loved like the softness of it. So you can see right here, you see how this transitions from Corten steel into retaining wall? Like, look how beautiful that is. That just provides so much more interest to me. So this is the spiral, and then kind of culminated on top. And also see how many people there were. This is just an image of the azalea garden that was there. Okay, so we have to talk about this image. I really liked the contrast between this is Lucathoi and Father Gilla. I think it was just so awesome. So Lucathoi is a native shrub here in New Jersey. It is evergreen. Sometimes it scorches out in the sun if it gets a little bit too much light. You got to tuck it in like the shadiest location in the garden, which is great if you have a shady garden. A lot of times we don't know what to put there, but Lucathoi is a really good shrub. And then these beautiful kind of buttlebrush like flowers of the Fathergilla gardenii. This is Mountain Airy cultivar. So Fathergilla, it can grow quite large. It can grow to 5 feet tall, but some of the cultivar is a little bit smaller. It is an awesome native shrub. Has beautiful fall color, obviously blooms beautifully in the spring before the foliage comes out. And it has powdery blue leaves in the summer. So it is just a top-notch shrub. I have no idea why people don't use it more. I try to include it in all of my projects as much as I can. And this is actually Sir Winston Churchill daffodil, which I have 100 of right here. So this is this garden again. Again, pay attention to the contrast of the dark foliage and the white flowers. Just such a beautiful garden. Lots of structure with the trees as well. You see there's some birches right here. I think this was a garden about peace. Doves, their symbol of peace. So that's kind of cool. These were just some details that as a landscape designer, I'm constantly thinking about, hardscaping and how to incorporate steps and edging and all kind of things that, most people don't look at, but I do. So this garden, again, garden electric, lots of color, but this structure was inspired by Mondrian, which is an artist. He used these color blocks a lot in his paintings. And they also use this fog machine right here. It's kind of interesting, right? Among greenery, there's kind of like a block of color. Again, tulip displays, they have them at every flower show that I've been to, the Philadephia Flower Show, which is, I completely understand. Tulips are easy to force. They have thousands of different colors and varieties, and people love them. I do. I mean, deer love them too, so I have to spray, but I'm not giving up my tulips. And then in the Hampton Court, right, so that's area where they display a lot of plants, and individual plants are judged by their appearance. They have all these criteria and the judges judge them. I found this adorable terrarium with carnivorous plants. This is something I also would totally do in my own plant room. I'm just reading some of the comments. I didn't get to go last year, so it's nice to see it. I added a blue shadow of Fathergilla to my garden last fall and can't wait to see it through the season. It's beautiful. You guys, if you don't have Fathergilla, just add it on your list. So again, Hampton Court, judging of the camellias. And this is where I geek out about plants. And this is where I realize just how many more plants there are in the world that I don't even know exist. So I think officially there's 300,000 plant species in the world, with millions of cultivars. So we're talking about millions of different plants. And that's why I love going to flower shows, because you always will see something new that you can try in your garden that probably, won't grow, will not do well, but it doesn't hurt to try. So this was just a cool looking plant. Lots of orchids. This was a cyclamen for show, and it was a winner. So there's like place number 1, place number 2, the runner up. So this was really cool. This is satellite dish planted with orchids. I mean, how inventive is this? Who came up with this? Like, that is really cool. So this is the satellite dish. I have no idea what this was. I think it was like a little rover. It was just rotating, showing the flowers. Ah, so cool. I'm glad I'm doing this with you guys. I'm kind of reliving it from last year, getting some inspiration, looking at some color. So this was interesting. This is exactly the same spot. They had specifically sized gardens this year. So they had them last year, and they had them, I guess, in previous years as well. So they designate sizes, right? So 15 by 20 or something like that. And they tell designers, design a garden. They could give you a theme, or you can pick a theme yourself. But every time I look at gardens like this, I think about the fact that you don't need a large space to have a garden. You need 15 feet by 20 feet, patch a lawn. You don't even need a lawn. You could use microclover. You can use, again, carex, no mow lawn if you don't want to drag your lawnmower out there. Recycle some stump slices from a tree maybe you have taken down. Get a bistro set at a garage sale for $50. Get some plants. Like, this could be an amazing budget garden right here. This was another garden that was on the smaller side. A little water feature. This was interesting. And again, going back to that chandelier thing, which I was not a big fan of, to be honest with you. And this was just one of the displays that I found interesting. It was a little bit too much plants for me. And I actually, in my design work, you want all the plants. We as gardeners want all of the plants, right? But sometimes you just have to step back a little bit and start editing, because otherwise it may look a little bit like a hodgepodge. There's the simplicity, and then there's the variety, and you have to find just the right spot for you that you are happy with. This was a video that I took because I really like this plant. This is Milianthus major right here. This beautiful powdery mildew plant. I had bought one 2 years ago, and I loved it. Such a cool plant. Unfortunately, I forgot to bring it inside for the winter. It is hardy to zone 9, I believe. And I do save a lot of my plants. I saved Clerodendron, obviously I saved elephant ears. And I really wanted to save the Milianthus, and the rush of the season, in the fall when you're trying to plant bulbs, bring the things in, I just forgot about it. So I have to find it again. It's not an easy to find plant, but I really liked it. There was just some Helleborus. And the show culminated kind of as you exit in this electric screen with different flowers. They were kind of in your face. And just lots and lots of color. And this electric theme that they were talking about. So this is it for the 2023 flower show. And then we're going to move to 2022. How are you guys hanging on? Are you still there? Anybody asleep? Just holler back if anything is any thoughts, ideas. Just want to make sure that we're in the right track here. Still here. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So let's move on to 2022. Okay, so 2022 was outside. The show was outside, and I think the theme was in full bloom. And the reason was outside because of the pandemic. And I would say between this year and the 2022, I don't know which one I liked better. I think because this was outside and because the light was natural and because the plants looked fantastic and because they had so much more space. So this was in FDR Park in Philadelphia, which is, I believe, is the largest park there, designed by Olmsted, the father of landscape architecture in America. It was just amazing to walk through all these gardens outside. There was plenty of space. You know, the convention center is pretty big, but you cannot make it as big as the outside. So as you walk in, just trying to make sure this is okay. As you walked in, they had these displays of plants just for like hundreds of feet. And this was one of the displays that I particularly liked because, of course, these are more like pinks and cool colors, lots of grasses. So we can actually take this one apart. There's some lavender, some zinnias. This is Stachys humulo, which I have in my garden, huge pollinator attractor. Penstemons, echinacеas, just so many different things, salvias. And this is my vibe. Again, this is something that I can take and just plant in my garden. This doesn't need a sunny location. This is full sun composition. So yeah, loved this one. And then they had a lot of meadowy kind of exhibits because a lot of people are into native plants now. So this one, this is wild quinine, which I also have in my garden, this white plant right here, which blooms for the longest time. If you guys haven't grown wild quinine, Parthenium integrifolium, for some reason I know Latin, I can pronounce Latin better than the common name. It blooms forever. And huge pollinator attractor as well. So there's some penstemons right there, probably some switchgrasses. It's kind of hard to tell from here. And then this image I want to talk about. So I'm not normally into like warm or hot colors, but because this bed has a lot of hot colors, right? So oranges, reds, and they all together, it's so harmonious to me. Also, the greenery calms it down. So, you know, the red and green are the opposites on the color wheel. So they're complementary colors. So the ones that are opposite, they're actually complement each other. So that's why this is working so well. And I just love this dark foliage dahlia. Oh, so pretty. Okay. Another beautiful display. I don't know if Stachys humulo was just like the star of the show. It was everywhere that year. Gomphrena. These were interesting structures. You know, adding some structures in your garden always makes it so much more interesting. I love hot colors. Red, orange, and yellow are totally my vibe. Let's go back and look at this again just for you. I'm going to zoom in. See, and I love people who like stand by their choices. I like hot colors. My mother does. It's not, those are not my favorites. And it is such a personal decision. Like, we cannot argue about color. It's either, I like olives or I don't like olives. You cannot make me like olives. It's just the way it is. Oops. Sorry, I got too excited. Oh, okay. So this was the next image. Lots of different plants. I mean, looking at this time of year makes me so happy. Doesn't it make you happy? Does it make you inspired? Are you making your lists right now? So this is Salvia Rose Marvel. By the way, I haven't seen any of the labels. This is just my guesses from the things that I've grown or the things that I planted in my clients' gardens. So Rose Marvel is beautiful salvia. I think it's by Proven Winners. I have a few in my garden, and it's just a really good performer. And I love the brave introduction of yellow color in this composition. A lot of English garden books will tell you never mix yellow with pinks. That's like a big no-no. If it works, do it. I think it looks lovely here. There's some beautiful yarrow as well. Gotta add some dark foliage dahlias. Absolutely. Yes. That is, I'm taking notes too. Now, this is again Susan's garden. So this is the third Susan's garden we've seen today. So she had this structure built right here. It was like a kind of like a she shed, I guess. And there was like a little water feature here with a seating area, but her plantings were stunning. I think I took like thousands of photos. She included penstemons, yarrows, echinacea. She kind of leaned heavy on the natives, and then she added some, Shasta daisies and salvias and things like that. Like, look at this. Isn't this stunning? So this grass right here is Macella tenuissima, which is Mexican feather grass. It used to be not hardy in my zone, but since we have moved up a zone, we're officially now zone 7. It's sorry, I just got interrupted by messages. It now lives. So it perennializes. So you have to be a little bit careful with Nacella or Mexican feather grass. It can seed throughout your garden. If you don't take control of it, it will go everywhere. So just keep that in mind. Yes, you guys are loving it too. I see. So she included some, these are smooth hydrangeas. I see some alliums, again, some introduction of grasses. Like, look at this. This is picture perfect. This is a boxwood to calm everything down a little bit. And that's why she included the grasses as well, just to calm everything down. Moving on to the next garden. This was just an herb garden with lots of thyme, lots of alyssum. And this was just like a little inspiration for a vegetable garden. I'm working on a garden right now where a client requested a vegetable garden, and I'm trying to incorporate it in kind of a nice way. So I'm thinking about corrugated raised vegetable beds. There were tons of different perennials. Again, you see how the light is just different outside compared to the convention center. Just the plants are in different light, literally. I wish they had labels for all of these. So they were the show gardens, and a lot of times in the show gardens, they request that you have labels showing the plants. But then they also had just some display gardens as you were going to like the shopping part of the show, that they had no labels at all. And I would have liked to know what the phloxes were. I think this is Tough Stuff hydrangea, which I have used a lot. It is a great plant. And then they had some floral displays. Again, some interesting dappled willow with foxgloves. Some, not sure, that's penstemon as well. Again, see, look at that contrast. The dappled willow and the penstemon, and I believe in the back there's some nine barks. I'm not sure about the lime yellow rock, but that's just me. This is from Hampton Court. Again, they had a little area where they were judging plants as well. Again, another display, lobelias, euchras, bugleweed, hydrangeas, like just your regular quote-unquote garden variety plants. So this was interesting garden. It was more on the wilder side. So this is Macleia cordata. I don't know if you guys ever grown this plant before. This is verbascum. So Macleia, I actually love the look of that plant. I love the leaves, but I heard it is very aggressive in the garden. And that's why I've been kind of staying away from growing it. I'm doing a little bit more research, asking people about their experience, but everything I heard is that it is aggressive. And anytime I hear somebody says, ooh, it's a bully, I don't want any more problems in my garden that I already have. So, but see, I was in love with this combination of foliage. You know, gardens are not about flowers only. It's about foliage. Green is color too, right? So this powdery silver, beautiful foliage of verbascums with Macleia, oh, so pretty. Again, this was kind of more of a foliage contrast combination. So this is a limus. I think it's called a Canada ryegrass. If you're in any of the areas here, don't plant it. It will take over your life. Super aggressive. One of the worst plants. I just love the verbascums. I'm sorry, like that little juicy guy right there. Oh, just want to eat him up. Back to Susan's garden again, because we were walking around and I was looking at her garden from all the different angles. I was taking pictures of all the plants that she had there. It's just so pretty. This was another garden, very cottagey feel with foxgloves. This is Nepeta, Angelonia. I see some lilies poking up, coleus, juniper, petunias. Very cottagey, beautiful. Again, just take this combination, put it in your garden, done. Beautiful. Oh, the softness of Nocella here, the Mexican feather grass. This is, I believe, Artemisia Paus Castle. Love this. Textures are just stunning to me, but you do have to be careful with Nocella. So if it does seed in your garden and if it becomes aggressive, just substitute it with prairie dropseed. Our native beautiful grass, Spirabolus heterolepis, has that look of like the wavy grass, but it's not aggressive at all. Reflecting pools. Water in the garden, I'm a big fan. I try to get water in the garden in any of the gardens that I design. It just adds so much interest, and plus it's great for wildlife. These were other show gardens, and I just love the structures, the pergolas, all these lines are just so beautiful here. Let me see, what is this grass here? That looks like, that's Calamagrastis right here. Right here, Calamagrastis, Nymphophia, some oak leaf hydrangeas, smooth hydrangea. Again, another gorgeous composition. Verbena bonariensis in the front. Beautiful job. And a reflecting pool. Again, you could see double the flowers. Put water in your garden, you're going to have double the flowers. There you go. Oh, how cute is this? With the little overturned urn. This agapanthus is beautiful. I think this is galaxy blue. So I got agapanthus in my garden, I think a couple of years ago. And it is now hardy to where I live, but I think it got a little bit too much moisture and they don't like that. So I'm going to try it again and plant it in more of a well-draining spot. And that's what happens. A lot of times plants don't do well, but just try them in another spot and they may do better. Gorgeous foliage textures and colors in so many of the gardens, yes. I don't know, you guys. I think this was my favorite because it was outside. This is actually a video. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. I almost missed this. Let's do it again. Oops. Oh, so pretty. It's a little wooden block. I was thinking, oh, where can I incorporate this? A little boggy area. These gardens, the natural looking gardens are just so peaceful to me. I really like the geometry of this garden, this turn right here. Anytime you put your walkways like this at a 90-degree, you create spaces for your gardens, either for seating. So like they created a little seating area here, a little seating area here because of that turn. I actually have used that trick in some of my garden designs. Again, lots of color. Look, they got what's that, oleander going on. There's some hydrangeas, yarrow. Very interesting. I guess they just wanted to show pool area. This is a pool area. They had lots of lilies. This was the area where you could buy plants. Look at that beautiful yarrow color. Ooh, and the willow fence, that little willow fence. I want to incorporate this in my garden somewhere this year. Well, we'll see if I'll have the time. And I would love to make one myself, but you can also buy them. The little wattle fence, little willow fences. You can also make one from all the cuttings that you're going to be doing in the spring. So some vegetable gardens. Just how pretty is this with the little clematis right here? That is just an idyllic little picture perfect moment. This, I was just taking pictures to see how big the joints are in between the stepping stones. This is a landscape design thing. Some more combinations. The Hakinakloa grass that you see right here, I use a lot of it. It is such a tough grass for shade. Almost impossible to kill. It is not aggressive at all, doesn't seed, doesn't spread really fast, but it is a workhorse in the garden. Again, lots of Mexican feather grass, sumac, beautiful texture right there. Look at that. I'm just gonna go a little bit faster because I know we've been here for an hour now. I could be talking about this all day, you guys. Like, I really can. But I know we all have to go. But really love this, the lamb's ear, like that little bit of a bolder texture with the grass. And this is Euchre Autumn Bride right there with the bigger leaf. Okay, This is so pretty to me. Again, I am not hot or warm color person, but this was so well done because, again, if you look at this, let's take this apart. The yellow and the blue are complementary colors. And the fact that there's more yellow and just the dotted blues, that is very tastefully done. These big leaves that you see right here, like a cabbage kind of leaves, those are Rudbeckia maxima. These are our native Rudbeckias. It's actually not, these are not the blooms. Rudbeckia maxima, let me find, maybe it's blooming right here. So you see that stalk that going up, 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 up. Rudbeckia maxima flower, there you go, I found it. There you go, there you go, there you go. And it's like, it's going to keep going and then it's going to bloom. So the flower is like 7 feet tall. So it's taller than me. But the foliage is so decorative. It's almost like a hosta for sunny locations. So it doesn't need a lot of sun. I'm just reading what you guys said. Was the 2022 show that was outside held in a later month? So it was in June. They did not have a March show, I believe, because of the pandemic. From the dates and photos. Yes, they did not have an indoor show that year. So this is, again, the same photo. I mean, it looks rendered. It looks like I put colors in there, but I didn't. It just looks absolutely beautiful. So if you guys are looking for a cool plant for sunny locations, Rudbeckia maxima. And these are Coreopsis right here in between. Beautiful combination, Monarda, foxglove, Veronicas, and hollyhocks. Again, yellow and pink. Looks lovely to me. Like, look how pretty that is. With a little bit of cosmos. Again, that pale yellow, I can have that in the garden everywhere because it's kind of not as simple as white, but it's not as bright as yellow, but it shines at night. So if you spend a lot of time in your garden at night after work, this is an awesome color to have. Some interesting furniture choices. Borge. Some beautiful little cottagey gardens. Phlox. That is a gorgeous dark leafed hydrangea right there. There's a question. Hold on. I have Apticula red in my garden. I love it. Coreopsis, yes. Coreopsis is such a great plant to grow. Very easy for sunny locations. You know, some of them are a little bit aggressive, so you have to keep an eye on them. This was a beautiful combination for shade areas. Again, the Hakinakloa grass right here that they weaved through. Some bugleweed, beautiful eucharas, hostas, and Pinacetum grass, astilbe. Pinacetum grass will not do well in the shade. You know, they probably put it there because they didn't have anything else. But you can use bottle brush grass that looks very similar to Pinacetum seed heads, but it takes shade. Rudbeckia maxima with big center that produces, yes. Rudbeckia maxima is a really cool plant, you guys. I think this is the last image. I think we went through 3 years of flower shows and ta-da! In an hour, over an hour. So I think I will end it here. Now that I know that these actually record, It will be recorded right away, so anybody who did not see this presentation can see it. And I think it was just so interesting to kind of go back in years and compare all the different garden shows, just get inspired by the flowers. Yes, so I'm definitely inspired. Our wind is picking up big time, so we may lose internet at any point. So we got it just in time. Great photos and narrations. Thank you so much, you guys, and thank you for coming. I will just give you a couple of minutes to wrap up. So the seasons just started. I am super excited for the garden season. Of course. Yes, I'm so glad that I went back and I found these photos to kind of go through it again. I gotta tell you, between this year and the 2022, I would say the outdoor one was my favorite. I mean, it's just so many plants, so many different beautiful combinations. So again, thank you so much, you guys, for coming again and hanging out with me. For those who couldn't join, you can look at it afterwards. It will be on YouTube. It's actually under lives, so it's not under videos. It's under lives. You have to look it up. All right, you guys, hang on with that daylight savings time. I hope you're doing okay. Don't be late for work tomorrow. All right, I'll talk to you later. I'll see you later, you guys.